The bus was packed. The kind of packed where people stand shoulder to shoulder, gripping the overhead rails, avoiding eye contact like it's a sport. Rain was smearing the windows. Everyone was lost in their own world. Headphones in, phones out, faces blank. Just another gloomy afternoon rush. Near the front, in the designated accessible seating area, sat a man. He looked like he hadn't slept in about 3 years. Messy hair, coffee stain on his sleeve, dark circles under his eyes. Next to him, a little girl, maybe 5 years old, was quietly drawing on a napkin. Her backpack had a cartoon unicorn on it, worn and faded from use. This was the single dad. Let's call him Mark. Not his real name, but it fits. Mark was doing what he did every single day. Work a full shift. Pick up his daughter from the after-school program. Take the bus home. Cook dinner. Bath. Bed. Repeat. No breaks. No help. Just him and his little girl against the world. You could see the exhaustion in his posture. But you could also see something else. Patience. When his daughter dropped her crayon, he didn't sigh or get annoyed. He just bent down, picked it up, and gave her a small smile. That small kind of love that doesn't ask for attention. The kind that just shows up. Then the bus stopped. The doors hissed open. Cold air rushed in. And that's when she got on. A young woman, maybe in her early 20s. She was in a wheelchair. Her name, we'll say, was Chloe. Chloe had a bright yellow raincoat on. The kind that pops against gray skies. Her hair was a little wet from the rain. She paused at the bottom of the bus ramp, scanning the front area. Every single seat in the accessible section was taken. People looked down at their phones. One guy suddenly became very interested in his shoelaces. A teenager turned up her music so loud you could hear the tinny beat from her earbuds. Chloe hesitated. You could see it on her face. That split second of, do I even bother? That moment we've all felt, disabled or not, where you're tired of being a burden. Tired of asking. Tired of the awkward silence that follows. But she needed to get home. So she took a breath. And she asked? She rolled up next to Mark's seat. Not demanding. Not loud. Just a soft voice that almost got swallowed by the noise of the bus engine. Excuse me. Do you mind if I sit here? She pointed to the small open space in the accessible area. But here's the thing. There was technically room. But her wheelchair would block the aisle. It would make it harder for people to get on and off. It would also mean that Mark's daughter would have to move her little legs out of the way. It would be an inconvenience. She knew that. She was ready for the usual response. The tight smile. The, sorry. I'm getting off soon. The way people look through you instead of at you. She'd gotten that 100 times before. Mark looked up. He looked at her wheelchair. Then he looked at his daughter. Then he looked back at Chloe. And here's where the story could have gone one of two ways. The easy way. The way most people take. He could have said, sorry. We're almost at our stop. He could have pretended he didn't hear her over the rain. He could have done what everyone else on that bus was doing. Nothing. But Mark did something else. He didn't just say yes. He didn't just move his daughter's backpack. He stood up. Fully stood up. In a crowded, lurching bus. Held onto the overhead rail with one hand. And with the other hand, he carefully, calmly, started moving things out of the way. He folded up the little seat that was blocking the space. He moved his daughter's bag under the seat. He looked at Chloe and said 5 words that made her eyes fill up right there on the spot. He said, "There's room. Please. Take mine. Not just the space. My seat." The seat he was sitting in. The seat that was dry. The seat that wasn't blocked by anything. The one he'd been saving for his tired legs after a 10-hour shift. Chloe blinked. She wasn't used to this. People usually gave her the minimum. The smallest possible yes that still let them feel good. But this man gave her his actual seat. The one his butt was warming. "I can't take your seat," she said, her voice cracking a little. Mark just smiled. Not a fake customer service smile. A real one. Tired, sure. But real. "You're not taking anything I'm not happy to give." His daughter looked up at the whole thing. And this little 5-year-old, without missing a beat, pointed to her own tiny seat and said, "You can sit here too if you want. It's warm." That's when the first tear rolled down Chloe's cheek. Because it wasn't just the seat. It was the way he didn't make her feel like a problem to be solved. It was the way his daughter saw a person, not a wheelchair. It was the way Mark treated dignity like it wasn't a big deal. When to her, it was everything. Here's a hard truth. According to the CDC, 1 in 4 adults in the US lives with a disability. That's over 60 million people. And study after study shows that the number one struggle they report isn't stairs or doorways. It's other people. It's the constant feeling of being invisible. It's the exhaustion of having to prove you deserve basic kindness. Chloe later wrote about this moment on social media. Her post went viral. Not because it was dramatic or angry, but because it was so painfully simple. She wrote, "I've gotten used to people giving me inches. This man gave me his whole seat. And his daughter offered me hers. I cried because I forgot what it felt like to be treated like I just belong." Think about that. She forgot what it felt like to belong. Not because she's dramatic. Because the world reminded her every single day that she was in the way. But Mark didn't see an obstacle. He saw a woman trying to get home in the rain. He saw someone tired, just like him. And he made a choice that cost him nothing but comfort. And gained him nothing but a stranger's tears. The bus drove on. 3 more stops. Mark stood there, holding the rail, his daughter holding his pant leg. Chloe sat in his seat, her yellow raincoat bright against the gray bus interior. Nobody else said a word. But something in that bus changed. The teenager with the loud music took out one earbud. The guy who was fascinated by his shoelaces looked up and actually held eye contact with an elderly woman who got on. Small things. Ripples. When Chloe's stop came, Mark moved back so she could roll out. She looked up at him, eyes still a little red. "Thank you," she said. "Really? You have no idea." Mark just nodded. "Have a good night." That was it. No phone numbers exchanged. No big speech. No video went viral in that moment. Just 2 humans, 1 bus, and a choice. His daughter tugged his sleeve as the doors closed. "Daddy, why was she crying?" Mark thought for a second. Because sometimes people forget they matter. And she just remembered. Here's what gets me about this story. Mark wasn't trying to be a hero. He wasn't filming it for likes. He was just a single dad, bone tired, doing the hard work of raising a good human by being one first. He didn't give Chloe a speech about inclusion. He gave her a dry seat. And in doing so, he gave her back something she'd lost somewhere along the way. The feeling that she wasn't an interruption. We live in a world that's obsessed with big gestures. Grand romantic acts. GoFundMe campaigns. Viral challenges. But most of human decency happens in the small, boring moments nobody films. The bus. The grocery store line. The elevator. The question, "Do you mind if I sit here?" How you answer that question, in whatever form it comes to you, says everything about who you are. So here's what I want you to remember. You don't have to save the world. You don't have to fix systemic problems overnight. But the next time someone asks you for something small, a minute of your time, a seat, a little patience, don't give them the minimum. Give them the whole thing. Not because you have to. Because you can.